Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. Let me tell you what happened the night I realized my wife forgot I existed, while I was sitting 3 feet away from her. It was raining, not poetic, not cinematic, just the kind of rain that clogs gutters and makes your socks wet through shoes. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, scrolling through her phone, legs crossed like she was waiting for someone. But it wasn't me. She had makeup on, not "I'm home for the night" makeup, fresh makeup. That stung a little. I asked her, "Do you want to talk?" She didn't even glance at me. "Not now," she said. "Not now." I remember the exact moment the heater clicked behind me. That soft, mechanical sigh. It was the only sound that filled the space between us after those words. I just stood there, stared at the back of her head, and felt like I'd finally been erased. She wasn't angry. She wasn't cold. She was distant. Like I was some guy who accidentally walked into her hotel room. And the worst part? I said nothing. I stood in silence like a forgotten umbrella by the door. That night, I couldn't sleep. I didn't even try. I sat on the kitchen floor with the fridge light glowing behind me, holding an old mug she once made in pottery class. It was chipped. So was I. By morning, something in me had changed. Not from courage, but exhaustion. I walked into the bedroom. She was asleep, still in last night's outfit. I leaned down, kissed the air near her cheek, and whispered just one word: farewell. She didn't move. I left everything behind: my toothbrush, my laptop charger, my dignity. I just walked out with one duffel bag and a question echoing through my mind like static. Who was I married to? Because later that same day, I found out she wasn't just hiding love. She was hiding a life, and I was never part of it. The silence after I left didn't feel like peace. It felt like walking into a fog where even my thoughts didn't echo. I checked into a cheap hotel near the edge of town, one of those places with flickering hallway lights and walls thin enough to hear coughs through. But it was quiet, and I needed quiet. I didn't turn my phone back on until evening. I was terrified it would be full of missed calls, or worse, none at all. Turns out, I was wrong on both counts. There was only one message, from someone I barely knew. A coworker of hers, I think. It just said, "Hey, didn't want to be in the middle of anything, but I thought you should know." Look at her wrist in the last team photo. No context, no explanation, just that. I scrolled through her company's social media. Took me a while to find the post. It was from a few days ago, some fancy rooftop event. Everyone dressed like it was an awards show. And there she was, center frame, arm around a guy in a navy blue shirt I didn't recognize. She was laughing, head thrown back. Carefree. But the part that froze me was on her left wrist. A red braided bracelet. I bought that bracelet 3 years ago. It was a handmade one from a tiny market in Arizona. She told me it was too scratchy and tossed it in a drawer, said it wasn't her style. But here it was, proudly displayed, front and center, in a photo where she looked happier than I'd seen her in months. I zoomed in. That wasn't just any bracelet. It had a tiny silver tag on it. I had engraved her initials on it myself. She had kept it. Not for me, but apparently for someone else. And that guy beside her? He had a matching one. I nearly dropped my phone. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just sat there, staring at the screen like maybe if I blinked enough, it would all go away. But it didn't. Because 20 minutes later, I got another message from someone I never expected. Her sister. "We need to talk." Tonight I met her sister, Callie, at a gas station parking lot just off the highway. Her choice, not mine. She said it was safer that way. I didn't know what that meant until I saw the look on her face. She didn't hug me, didn't smile. She just got into my car and pulled the visor down, like she couldn't bear to meet my eyes. For the first 10 minutes, she didn't speak. Just kept adjusting her wedding ring and staring out the windshield like she was watching something only she could see. Eventually, I broke the silence. "You said we needed to talk." My voice cracked when I said it. She noticed. She always had. She sighed. "This isn't easy, Howard." "Yeah, I figured." Callie closed her eyes and took a breath like she was about to confess a crime. "They've been seeing each other for almost a year," she said quietly. She told me it started as a joke, a harmless flirt, but it escalated. Quickly I didn't speak. My throat physically tightened. A year? A whole year? I told her to stop, she continued. Begged her, actually. Said she was going to destroy you, but she said you wouldn't notice. That part hit harder than the cheating itself. You wouldn't notice. Like I was just some piece of furniture she could move around the house. Maybe dust occasionally when the company came over. Callie finally turned to look at me. Her eyes were glassy. I thought maybe she'd come to her senses, but she only got better at hiding it. Then I saw the photo, the bracelet. That wasn't for him. It was for the show. The show? She nodded. They planned it. She told him you'd check eventually, that you'd go online and find the post, that it would break you quietly and she wouldn't have to say a word. I felt sick. My entire face went numb. Why are you telling me this now? Because, she whispered, they're flying out tomorrow. To Belize. 2 tickets, 1 hotel room, 1 future. That's when I realized she hadn't just moved on. She'd been rehearsing it. After Callie left, I sat in the car for what felt like an hour, the keys still in the ignition, but my mind miles away. My hands were trembling, but not from anger, just emptiness. I wasn't even sad. I think I ran out of sadness a long time ago. What I felt now was something colder. Not rage, not revenge. Just a deep, dull ache that vibrated through every nerve like white noise. I went back to the hotel, sat on the bed, and opened my laptop. I typed Belize into the search bar. The idea of her running barefoot on a beach with him, wearing that same red bracelet I gave her, made me nauseous. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for. I clicked through resorts, flight options, tour packages, not knowing what I'd find. Then I saw it. A boutique hotel in San Pedro posted a photo on their Facebook page. It had only gone up 20 minutes ago. The caption read, "Looking forward to welcoming our early arrival guests this weekend. Love is in the air." I almost kept scrolling, until I noticed the luggage tags in the photo. They were personalized. One of them read, Marlene and N. N, not H for Howard. N. I zoomed in until the image blurred, but it was too late. My mind had already filled in the blank. Nathan? His name was Nathan. She mentioned him once in passing. Her creative director, I never saw him, never heard his voice. But now he had a tag next to hers, a reservation, a plan. She didn't even try to hide it. I called the hotel, half expecting them to hang up, but the woman at the front desk was cheerful. I told her I was confirming a gift reservation for my sister. She asked for the name. I gave her Marlene's maiden name. Without hesitation, she confirmed it. 2 guests, 1 ocean view suite. Complimentary champagne upon arrival, booked 3 months ago, 3 months, August. I hadn't even noticed the date, because 3 months ago, we celebrated our 8th anniversary, and apparently the next morning she booked their honeymoon. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed with the glow of my laptop washing over the room, the hotel air conditioner humming softly like it was trying to comfort me, but nothing could. I was replaying everything, every kiss, every argument, every time I asked, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Just tired." Number. She wasn't tired. She was already gone. I opened a blank email, not to her, to him. I don't even know why I started typing. Maybe I wanted him to know I existed, that I wasn't just some placeholder husband she outgrew. I wrote, "Do you know what you're inheriting?" She lies easily. She's not who she pretends to be. She'll turn on you too, when you're not looking. Enjoy your vacation. You paid for it with my life. Then I stared at the blinking cursor for 10 full minutes, and I deleted every word. What was the point? He'd already won. She had picked him, planned with him, packed for him. There wasn't a single corner of her life that still belonged to me, not even her regrets. Instead, I opened my bank app. I'd always been the saver. She was the spender. I never questioned it. Love does that to you. It makes you stupid with generosity. But in that moment, I saw clearly. Her name was still on our joint account, and there was enough in there to cover at least half of their trip. That's when it hit me. I hadn't walked away. I just stood still long enough for her to leave, so I transferred every cent, every single dollar, into my personal account. Quietly, no warning, no, "I hope you understand." Just a silent act of reclamation. She could have Nathan, but not my money, not my silence, not anymore. I closed the laptop and finally looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were swollen, my jaw tight. But for the first time in months, I felt something close to control. I didn't smash things. I didn't scream. I didn't post screenshots online. Instead, I wrote her a note. 5 words. The silence was your answer. Then I folded it, sealed it in an envelope, and mailed it to our home. Our home. Not hers. Not anymore. I didn't expect her to call, not immediately, not even soon. She had a plane to catch, champagne to sip, ocean views to post. I imagined her by the hotel pool in Belize, legs stretched out, heart unburdened. Maybe she'd read the note I mailed days after their arrival. Maybe she'd laugh. Or maybe she'd throw it away like she had every version of me she outgrew. But 5 nights later, at 2:12 a.m., my phone rang. I recognized the number, but for a second, I couldn't believe it was real. It felt like answering it would undo everything. Like I'd fall back into her gravity, apologizing for bruises she never admitted giving. But curiosity is a cruel thing. So I answered. There was no hello, just her breathing, uneven, shaky, and then, "You emptied the account." I didn't say a word. "You could have told me," she said, and I could hear the tremble underneath her practiced calm. "You didn't have to be cruel." I almost laughed. Cruel? "You left a note," she added after a beat. "That was petty." I exhaled slowly. Was it pettier than booking a beach resort with someone you accidentally fell on top of during strategy meetings? Silence. "You planned your future with him," I continued. "You sat next to me for months, pretending I didn't notice the missing hours, the guilt you never had. You wore the bracelet just to hurt me. You don't understand?" "No, Marlene." "I finally do." That broke her. I heard it. The inhale that never became a word. Then came the softest, most desperate sentence I'd ever heard from her. "He's not who I thought he was." I blinked. "What does that mean?" "He left," she said. 2 days ago. I don't know where he went. He blocked me." I closed my eyes. Her fantasy collapsed faster than I imagined. "You should come home," she said, like that was an option. "We should talk. It's not what you think." That's when I realized she still believed she had a version of me waiting. But she didn't know. I was already gone. I didn't go home, not even close. But she did. I knew it the moment the doorbell cam sent me a motion alert. The same door she used to burst through with lipstick smudged and perfume trailing behind her. Now slowly creaked open like it didn't recognize her anymore. She stepped inside alone. She thought I'd be there waiting, like a fool with a bouquet and an apology tucked into my throat. Instead, she walked into silence, and the kind that doesn't forgive. I watched it all through the feed, her pausing in the hallway. The way her eyes darted toward the kitchen, then the stairs. Like she was retracing a map that had already been erased. I couldn't hear her voice, but I saw her lips move as she said my name. Then she made her way to the bedroom. She opened the closet. That's where I left it. The box. I didn't label it, didn't lock it. I wanted her to open it. Inside was everything she didn't think I saw. The screenshots, the printed reservations, the email from her coworker, time-stamped. And in the center, folded neatly, was the bracelet. Mine, not hers. The one she gave me 3 anniversaries ago, with a note that said, "You always make me feel safe." She'd forgotten it existed, but I hadn't. There was also a flash drive. On it, a video. Just 47 seconds. She'd recognized the background immediately. The lounge at her company's Christmas party. I wasn't invited that year. She told me it was intimate, just the execs. But someone else recorded it. Her, Nathan, dancing like teenagers, laughing, kissing. Her arms around his neck in a way she hadn't touched me in years. She looked free of me. I never posted it, never threatened her with it. I just left it there, because I wanted her to know that I knew. And knowing was enough. Let her stand in that room, holding proof of her own story. One she thought she had edited so well. Let her face the evidence, not from a scream, not from a courtroom, but from quiet. Let the silence say everything I never had the courage to. She didn't text again, didn't call. Maybe the box told her everything I couldn't. Or maybe silence really was louder than closure. Either way, the next time I heard her name was through a mutual friend who said she moved out of state to start over. Whatever that means. I never responded. I changed my number, closed the joint accounts, sold the house. Left everything behind except what I could carry and what I'd learned. Pain doesn't go away all at once. It lingers in the small hours, in quiet elevators, in songs you didn't know meant something. But eventually, it softens. It stops cutting. I moved to a town where no one knew my name, started freelance work again, bought a bike, started walking more, talking less. I found peace in simple things, coffee without her lipstick on the mug, bed sheets that only smelled like me, and I stopped blaming myself for not being enough, because the truth is I was never too little. She just wanted more than she was willing to earn. A few weeks ago, I found that same red bracelet at the bottom of my drawer. I almost threw it out. But instead, I walked to the nearest bridge and dropped it in the water. Watched the ripples swallow it like it had never existed. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just let go. And somehow, in that moment, I felt free too. To anyone listening right now, if someone looks at you and says, "Not now," when all you're trying to do is love them, please hear what they're really saying. And if you need to walk away, walk. You're not weak for leaving. You're brave for knowing when it's already over. Thanks for sticking with me through this. And before you go, tell me this in the comments. What moment in history do you think changed everything for someone, but the world never noticed? I'd love to hear your thoughts. This has been Reddit Confessions. See you next time.